everybody, it's Brock and we got a brand new episode of All About. Today we are learning about one magnificent looking wrasse named the Lyretail Wrasse. Other common names are the moon wrasse or crescent wrasse or even the lunar wrasse. From the footage I had, it's really hard to decipher if I named it correctly at first. The other wrasse that closely resemble this one that I was getting confused with was the sunset wrasse, the klunzingers wrasse, you have the melanarus, the Christmas wrasse. Those all have very similar colorations, but what kind of helped me distinguish this one as the Lyretail is the front fins are red in the middle with blue outlining it. Also, the elongated body is completely emerald green with some red highlights between the scales. The tail can help too. The fins are red on the inside with the blue outline, and as they grow, that middle part of the tail that's translucent as a juvenile will actually turn yellow. So, maybe you see one online or at your local fish store. Let's see if they'd be right for your tank. The price of the moon wrasse hovers around $40 for a juvenile. That will be about 1 to 3 inches long. Getting one that is larger, typically 3 to 5 inches, will be $80. But what can also drive the price is where they come from. The ones from Indonesia tend to be cheaper, and the ones from the islands like Fiji and Sri Lanka will be much more. Not just because of the catching and the shipping costs, but also the colorations tend to be much prettier from these specific areas. Deeper greens, deeper blues, you put them beside each other and you can just tell the colors look really, really good on one. Tank size recommendation for me is 120 gallon by adulthood. The personality of a Lyretail wrasse is very active, very curious. They like to speed across the tank in the open and explore every nook and cranny of the live rock. They do well in tanks with other fish, but can be a bully in the tank. They are territorial at times, especially towards other wrasse, and can be a bit pushy when it comes to feeding times. They will definitely be the first fish to the top when they realize that food's coming. They're not shy at all. You will see this fish during all times of the day, darting back and forth, just having a great time. They're very smart too. You can find them waiting just for the right moment to attack a hitchhiker on a live rock. You can see them moving rubble rock with their mouth, picking it up completely out of the sand, moving it around. You can also see them digging burrows to mark territory and find food. With that being said, that's why I recommend a tank of that size. They need room for their energetic personality, and you don't want them to control the entire tank if you were to put them in something smaller. For the tank itself, I'd recommend a sand bed with live rock that has plenty of places for them to explore. This is a wrasse that can bury themselves in the sand, so if they feel threatened or just want to sleep at night, they can dive completely under the sand where you can't even see them. You'll also want glass lids or coverings of some kind on the tank. They are prone to jumping, especially when first being introduced into the tank. I've also seen them get too excited that they dart a little too quick in the tank and end up on the floor, so make sure it's covered. You don't want that to happen at night. Care level, I'd say, is easy. These wrasse are hardy and they tend to eat quickly from you. Wrasse are usually pretty good about not catching any diseases or parasites. Most common one I've seen on wrasse upon shipment are flukes. Icks could happen too. Main thing is to just have them in some kind of dip or quarantine in copper before adding them into your display tank. If you're buying it from a local fish store, just ask them if they've done anything. Temper, I would say aggressive. What they remind me of is, you know how you'll have an older dog and you adopt a new puppy and the puppy is so hyper, running around the house, knocking stuff over, aggravating the older dog. A Lyretail wrasse is like that puppy in the fish tank. They aren't purposely being aggressive towards your other fish unless it is another wrasse. Again, with the tank size, to avoid some of this territorial aggression, you want them in a large tank. Reef compatibility is a yes. They are not one to eat or mess with your corals. The worst that could happen is their active swimming could knock a frag off if it's not secure, or digging in the sand can cause a coral to close up because some sand's getting blown on it. The Lyretail loves to eat bristleworms, so if you do have a problem with that, they will eat them up for you. But as they do get older, their diet kind of expands. This now larger wrasse sees small inverts like shrimp, crabs, and snails as tasty snacks to go after throughout the day. One of the funniest things we saw at the shop was we got one in shipment, and someone had accidentally put a cleaner wrasse in the tank with them, and the next morning we came in, the whiskers were actually sticking out of the cleaner wrasse's mouth. So he got a tasty and a pricey meal that first day, so be careful what you're going to actually put them in with. For temperature, you can keep it in the range of 72 to 82 degrees. They're from tropical water, so warm water is what they're going to enjoy. DKH 8 to 12, pH 8.1 to 8.4, and your salinity 1.020 to 1.025. Max size is 10 inches. The juvenile wrasse takes about 2 to 3 years to hit adulthood, so they grow pretty quickly. Diet is a carnivore. They need a lot of meaty foods in their diet. I'd recommend getting a variety of frozen foods like mysis, brine, krill. You can also see them eat flakes and pellets too. As they get bigger, we would actually start feeding them pieces of raw shrimp from the grocery store or dropping in clams on a half shell for the wrasse to tear up. They do have some teeth in there to tear these meatier foods up for them to eat. Obviously, feeding these larger foods becomes a bit messier in the tank, so watch those levels and do your water changes. If you are having trouble getting your other fish to eat because the wrasse is getting there first, sometimes it can be good to give them something like a piece of shrimp on one side of the tank so they can take it and start chewing on that, and then you can go to the opposite end and drop some food for your other fish to come and get. Origin is many places in the Indo-Pacific region, Indonesia, Philippines, Great Barrier Reef. They're found all over, and like I said, depending on the region they come from, you can actually see that color vary a little bit. Compatibility is really important. For a lot of people that want a larger wrasse that has an active personality, sometimes it can be best to add them last in the tank, as the other fish will have already claimed territory and the wrasse will be the newcomer coming in. You want to mix them with fish that can hold their own: clownfish, tangs, angels, larger gobies, damsels. Some people will even mix them in their predator tanks with triggers and puffers because the wrasse is just tough. They're confident around anyone. They do well in a tank like that too. Where I usually see issues is in the slower moving fish, like your cardinals, shy fox faces and rabbitfish, firefish gobies. Those fish tend to get frightened by the hyperness of this wrasse, which can lead to the other fish hiding and being too scared to come out and eat. If you are to have a mated pair of these, you can mix them. But for me, if I was picking this wrasse, I would want it to be the only wrasse in the tank because there's just too much territorialness that goes on. And we will come back up for air after that deep dive. The Lyretail Wrasse is an energetic, vibrant, and intelligent fish that can be an amazing addition to your tank. As long as you've got some space and the right tank mates, the stunning colors and active personality, they're sure to keep things interesting. Make sure to feed them a variety diet and keep them healthy. It keeps them happy. And if you're ready for this lively fish with loads of character, the Lyretail Wrasse could be the perfect fit for your aquarium. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. If you have any additional questions that I might not have answered, leave them down below. I'm happy to help. Also, share your experience if you've kept this fish. The more we learn from each other, better off we'll be in this hobby. As always, stay safe, be kind, and I'll see y'all later.